Her belly swelled and swelled for months. After 2 full years of carrying the same pregnancy, the villagers began to murmur. By now, they expected cries of a newborn, not the heavy silence that followed her wherever she went. Amina was a quiet type, the kind of woman who loved to mind her business. She did not gossip under the mango tree like others. She did not argue over market prices. She did not even raise her voice at children who ran through her compound. When she married Musa, the village carpenter, the whole town celebrated it like it was a festival. Drums, palm wine, a fat goat. Even Mama Ekene, who never liked anybody, said, "That one has sense. She married a man with a good skill." 3 months later, Amina stood up during the women's meeting and announced, "I am with a child." The whole village was happy. She would give birth to a warrior, a prophet, maybe even twins. But 1 year passed, 1 full year, and her stomach was still there. Not smaller, but bigger and rounder. Some days it moved like something was moving inside. The women whispered amongst themselves and brought herbs, roots and leaves that smelled awful and bitter. They brewed them into thick teas and rubbed them on Amina's belly, hoping for a sign. At the village bar, where men gathered to sip palm wine and talk, the jokes grew louder. "Maybe she swallowed a yam," one said, slapping his knee. Or Musa's ancestors are still negotiating with the baby, laughed another, shaking his head. But by the 18th month, the laughter died down. The teasing stopped. Amina stopped going out. Her world was confined to the small mud hut she shared with Musa. Musa, who was once strong and proud, grew thin and tired. His smile disappeared. Friends stopped coming around. The air around their home grew heavy with silence and worry. Then one day, whispers turned to fear. An old priestess, a woman with eyes like lightning and a voice like thunder, came to the village for a burial. When she saw Amina, she froze. She did not greet anyone. She walked straight to Amina's hut and stood by the doorway and stayed silent for a long time. "She's carrying more than a child," the priestess finally said, her voice low and brave. "This is not ordinary." The elders called her mad, laughed her off as being superstitious. But that very night, the priestess returned, this time with 3 other women in white clothes. They chanted in a language only the ancestors understood. They prayed to the spirit and poured libation on Amina's doorstep, filling the night with the scent of palm wine and fire. The next morning, for the first time in months, Amina stepped outside. Her eyes were clear, shining with a new light. Her steps were steady, firm like a woman who had made peace with the world, and her voice was calm, yet filled with unshakable strength, as she told anyone who dared to gossip about her pregnancy, "I carried a child destined for greatness, and no amount of your negative words will change that." She returned to her daily routine, tending to her farm, fetching water, greeting the neighbors. Whispers followed her everywhere she went, murmurs behind closed doors, sideways glances, curious stares, but Amina walked past them all without flinching. Months passed. The village watched and waited, some with hope, others with fear. Then one morning, inside the hut, Amina suddenly went into labor. Musa was by her side, but he was helpless. He did not know what to do, so he ran as fast as he could to call the priestess. The priestess arrived quickly, carrying her herbs and sacred tools. She entered the hut and began to help Amina through the labor. There was no screaming, no panic, just a calm, quiet strength filling the room. After some time, a strong cry filled the air. The baby was born. When the priestess came out holding the child, the whole village gasped because the baby had a strange birthmark, the shape of the village's ancient mark, something only seen in legends. The priestess smiled and said, "You waited 2 years, but it was worth it. This child is not just any child. He is the answer to a prayer the land forgot it made." From that day on, the village stopped whispering and started celebrating Amina. People came from far and wide to see the baby. Amina became a symbol of faith, patience, and destiny. And Musa, he built a crib for the baby, Not just any kind of crib, but a throne, because when destiny visits your home, you don't treat it like every other guest.